IAS Academy.
Hello all, welcome to IAS Academy and welcome back to the program Editorial Daily, where we deal with editorial analysis which enriches your perspective and enhances your answer writing. So let's get started with our today's session. And yes, the first article for today is the right to a fair trial of at a crossroads. Okay, so this is basically which is written by a legal scholar Gautam Bhatia, and this article basically examines a fundamental question to a democracy. Fundamental question in a democracy. Okay, so what is the question is basically is, can a person be kept in a prison for years without being convicted, is the question which is being raised. Okay, so the issue lies at the heart of the right to life and personal liberty under article 21, which is specified under article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, so basically this article is written in the context of the Supreme Court's denial of the bail. The Supreme Court denial of the bail to the Umar Khalid and the Sharjul Iman, which are the accused in the 2020 Delhi riots case under the Unlawful Acts of Prevention Act. Okay, so although there's five other accused were received bail, but these two persons have continued to remain in the prison without the bail or any trials. Okay, so this raises a important constitutional question, which we can say that how long a person or how long is for a what you called under trial prisoner is to remain in the jail. Okay, this is what this article is completely questioning about. Okay, so the basically the author reminds us about the article 21 which grants the personal liberty. Okay, so the Supreme Court has basically itself has repeatedly held that it's a speedy trial is a fundamental right. Basically, the Supreme Court used to say that speedy trial is a fundamental right. Okay, so excessive delay violates the constitutional protections. This is what the Supreme Court itself has repeatedly held in few cases. Okay, so however in this case the court held that the delay alone does not automatically entitle an accused to bail. It also considered the seriousness of the offense, it also considered the national security concerns and who was responsible for the delay. Okay, yes, we will see what is the context and how can we write the introduction to this and the conclusion, and how can we take a few benefits, and I mean what is the delay for the trials and all, we will see. Okay, let's see about it in a complete detailed manner. Let's see the topic. The topic is the right to a fair trial at the crossroads. The author is Gautam Bhatia, and the source from which the article is taken is the National Daily opinion page. Okay. Now, coming to the syllabus relevance, to which topics we can link this article is to GS paper 2. We can link this article, like see the Indian Constitution, the historical underpinnings, evolution, features, amendments, significant provisions, and basic structure, and the fundamental rights, especially the Article 21 and the judiciary structure, organization, and function. Okay, in GS paper 4 also we can link this article to the law, rules, regulations, and concerns at source of ethical guidance, human rights versus the state security topics. We can link this article to. Okay, yes. Let's see the context of the topic. The context of the article is the issue of prolonged pretrial incarceration under the special laws has brought the clash between the statutory restrictions and the constitutional liberties into the sharp focus. Okay, drawing from the 2020 Delhi riots case which have been happened in Delhi, the article highlights how the accused persons have remained in the prison for nearly 6 years. Basically, how long? The 6 years without the trial beginning, and raising a serious questions about the foundational principle that bail is the rule and jail the exception. Bail is the rule and the jail is the exception. Okay, yes, this is the context of the article. And coming to the introduction of the topical of this article, how can we come up is, see, at the heart of the debate lies the right to fair and the timely trial. When courts allow prolonged detention before the conviction, the promise of the Article 21 is weakened. Okay, so the article argues the judicial inconsistency, the procedural drift, and the expansive special law risk turning the criminal processes itself into the punishment. Okay, now when you see this conflict between this constitutional rights and the statutory cases, we'll see the first one is Article 21 versus the statutory bars. How come this is? The Supreme Court has long held that inordinate delay in trial violates the liberty under the Article 21. Okay, so therefore, the strict bail recreations restrictions under the special laws such as the UAPA cannot completely eclipse the constitutional human rights. Okay, so the core constitutional question is whether the statutory bars can justify the indefinite incarceration of without the trial. Okay, this is what we can say for you talk about a statutory bars under Article 21, which is a constitutional right. Okay, next, the second one is this the sliding scale fault line. The sliding scale fault line, like some judicial views hold that delay in trial does not create an automatic right to the bail and must be balanced against the gravity of the alleged offense. Okay, so the article criticizes this approach because gravity at the bail stage remains only a state allegation, not a conviction. Okay, so this logic creates a dangerous sliding scale that may justify keeping the citizens jailed for years or even decades without a completed trial. Okay, this is what we can tell about this, the conflict between the constitutional rights and the statutory clauses. Okay, yes. And why this problem persists? What is it? Why come this overholding of the citizens in the prisons without trials is being happening? Is we can see few deeper structural causes. Like the first one is overboard and voice definitions in special laws. Like see, the was the wise and expensive definitions of the offences enables the state to invoke the stringent provisions even in ordinary law or in the ordinary situation. So this results in an unnecessary application of harsh bail restrictions. Okay, next, the second problem is the stringent bail provisions and the reverse burden. Like see, provisions like section 43 capital D subclause 5 of UAPA creates a near impossible threshold for bail, which is placing an undue burden on the accused. Okay, and the courts are compelled to apply the laws as written, even it conflicts with the constitutional values. Okay, and the third problem that persists is the chronic under trial backlog. The chronic under trial backlog, like India has almost over 75 percentage of under trials in prisons. Okay, so like NCRB 2022. Okay, so many accused of non-violent offenses. Okay, and lack of the just judges, the poor infrastructure, and the frequent adjournment causes the inordinate delays. Okay, this is one of the biggest thing. The last problem which can discuss is the security narratives which override the liberty concerns. Like the courts and the government often prioritize the national security over an individual liberty, right? Basically, if it might be the court or anything, it basically prioritizes the national security rather than the individual's liberty. Okay, so dissent is easily labeled as a threat undermining democratic freedoms or due process. Okay, these are the problems which we case this persisting of not getting the persons to get into trials. And next, when we see the way forward, that is the restoring the balance, the first we can see as the way forward which we can write is reassert the constitutional primacy. Reassert the constitutional primacy, which is the Article 21. So the courts must reaffirm the Article 21 is the bedrock and the statutory provisions which cannot erode the fundamental rights. Okay, so delay in this trial should create a presumption in favor of bail regardless of the alleged gravity. Okay, the next is ensure the judicial accountability for the delays. Like the courts must take a proactive control of the trial timelines and monitor the mechanisms, day to day hearings, and the accountability for adjournments can prevent the indefinite detention. Okay, and the last way forward which we can write for this article is limit the political use of the special laws. In the sense, see, Clear legislative safeguards and the periodic review of the special laws are essential. So the states must be prevented from the weaponizing the security laws to silence the dissent and the opposition. Okay, yes. Coming to the conclusion of the topic, how we can conclude this article is the right to fair trial is not a mere procedural guarantee, but a soul of liberty. Very soul of liberty. So, when courts permit year of incarceration without the trial, they compromise the moral authority of the legal system. So, a judiciary must rise above the statutory rigidity and the political pressure to reclaim its role as the guardian of constitutional rights. So, a democracy is judged not by how it treats the guilty, but how it protects the right of the accused. Okay, this is what we can talk about this article. And the next article for today is a short at life Mandisser's model for the HPV vaccination. Basically, a HPV vaccination topic. Okay, so what is this article is talking about is this article highlights how this Mandisar district in Madhya Pradesh, which is present in Madhya Pradesh, has successfully implemented a large scale human papilloma virus vaccination campaign offering the valuable lessons for the public health administration across the India. Okay, so this article begins with the story of Savita, who is a young girl. Savita, who is a young girl from the Banchada community in this Mandsaur district of Madhya Pradesh. So, like many families, her parents were hesitant about this HPV vaccine due to the myths and the misinformations. So, through the counseling and awareness, they understood the benefits and agreed to vaccinate her. Okay, so this story reflects broader challenge of the broader challenge of the overcoming the vaccination hesitancy in the India. Okay, so why is this HPV vaccination is that much important for girls is HPV is the leading cause for the cervical cancer, basically for the cervical cancer. Okay, mainly in the women and girls. And okay, so the second most cancer among India in women. Okay, which is responsible for over 1.2 million lakh of new cases, and nearly 80,000 deaths are being reported annually because of this HPV vaccine or cervical, this is cervical cancer. So nearly 95 percentage, nearly how much, 95 percentage of the cervical cancer cases are caused by the high risk HPV strains. Okay, so making vaccination one of the most effective preventive measures. Okay, so recognizing this, the government of India has launched a nationwide HPV vaccination campaign, which is in February 2025. In Feb 2026, the campaign has been started and targeting the girls around the ages of 14 to 15 years. Okay, let's see what is this case and what has happened to initiate this HPV vaccine drive, and why this case of the young girl Savita has come up. We will see. Okay, let's. A topic is a short at life, the Mandisser's model for HPV vaccination. This is what the topic we are talking about. Okay, see who is the author is. The author is Aditi Garg, and the source is the National Daily Opinion page. Okay, yes, when you come into the syllabus, we can talk is in GS paper 2, we can link this article. We can link this article to GS paper 2, which is the governance and the social justice issues, which is relating to the development and management of the social sector, or the services relating to health welfare schemes for the vulnerable sections of the population, and role of the digital governance and data driven administration at the grassroots level. Okay, now let us see the context of this top article. What is this context is basically regarding the HPV vaccine. To address the India's heavy cervical cancer burden, the government of India has launched a national wide campaign on the Feb 28, 2026 to provide a HPV vaccination to 1.15 crore girls which are aged between 14 to 15 Yes. Okay. So in this the backdrop, the Mandsa district in Madhya Pradesh achieved the 100% of its vaccination target, not lacking any one girl behind. All the girls in the Mandsa district has been vaccinated. So it is 100% vaccination has been done in less than how many days? 40 days, offering a compelling model of decentralized and data driven public health delivery. Okay. This is the core context of this article. Coming to the introduction of this topic, how can we come up with the introduction is basically, see, the cervical cancer remains one of the most serious but the preventable public health challenge. Preventable public health challenge in India. So, since nearly 95% of the cases are linked to the high risk HPV strains, which are this vaccination offers a major preventive breakthrough. Yet, it is last mile success depends not only on the supply but also the overcoming hesitancy, stigma, and the gaps in the beneficiary identification. Okay, so this Mandsaur model demonstrates how the behavioral insights, data integration, and local administration innovation can transform a vaccine drive into a community-led health movement. Okay, this is what this has come up with. Okay, so yes, when we see the public health challenge and the cervical cancer and the vaccine hesitancy, basically when it comes to some vaccinations and all, everyone in the rural areas have this doubt, like if we take this vaccine, basically when they talk about this HPV vaccine, they are stating that when girls take this type of vaccines, they won't get conceived later, it will be problem for their this cervical problems might come up, or else they cannot deliver a baby. All these intentions have been coming up in their mind. So a campaign has been done, and all the concerns and the hesitancy to come up to take the vaccine also has gone up, and 100% of the vaccines has been taken by the girls in the Mandsa district of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, yes. See the macro burden first. What is this macro burden is, see, India bears nearly one fourth of the global cervical cancer burden. One fourth of the global cervical burden, cancer burden. So the country reports over 1.2 lakh new cases and around 80,000 deaths annually. Okay, so nearly 95% of cases are caused by the high risk HPV strains, which are making the vaccination a critical preventive intervention. Okay, so this is on the macro scale. When coming to the micro scale, which we can tell is, at the ground level, campaigns face vaccine hesitancy and social stigma, and the low cultural sensitivity around the adults and sexual health. Okay, and the gender bias and misinformation often weaken the preventive health uptake. Okay, and the marginalized groups such as the Banchada community exhibited the anxieties about the long-term effects of vaccination. I already told you these vaccinations might cause any anxieties, might cause any later problems. This is what the people in this Mandasa district has been thinking of, and this has been come up with the counseling or the campaigning of this vaccine with the help of the government of India. Okay, yes. When you see the deeper analysis, what is the pillars in this action is, first one is to the overcoming the data invisibility through the integration, like see the inter database triangulation, like the district administration merged the this RBSK, the Samagra, Madhya Pradesh, and Ladi Lakshmi Yojana databases. This all the databases has been merged, and cross verification created a single comprehensive pool of the potential beneficiaries. Okay, yes. And next is the actionable targeting, like door to door surveys. So door to door surveys using the Samagra IDs and the school or Anganwadi enrollment gaps, which ensured no group was left behind. Okay, based on all these databases only, they can know how many children are there between 14 to 8 to 15 years, and they can come up with the list, and they can help in the vaccinating the children. Okay, next, the special focus on the nomadic tribes who migrate from here and there. The major special focus is the nomadic tribes, the urban slums, and the school dropouts and other hidden populations. Okay, this is how they, by combining all these databases and all, they have achieved the 100% of vaccinations in the Mandasa district of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, yes. Coming to the granular microplanning, we can say the low coverage and high resistant areas were identified. The village level master line list has enabled the customized communication tailored to the cultural vulnerabilities. Okay, next, when you the second pillar when we see is the nudge approach to the modified behavior. The nudge approach to the modified behavior, like the pressed choices. The first choices, like the health workers framed the vaccination as a default action due for vaccination rather than an optional choice. Rather than telling them have vaccination, they are telling that your child is due for vaccination. This is what they are in doing in the campaign. So this established a vaccine as a expected norm. Okay, so it is mandatory to take the vaccination. It is not at all giving it as an optional choice. It is stating that your child is due for vaccination. This is what the doctors are being telling. Okay. Next is the combating misinformation. Like targeted campaigns countered the hoaxes on identity and the side effects. Okay, so the Gen Z influencers, the national athletes, the young doctors, and the religious leaders spreaded the credible and the relatable messages they have created. Okay, they have been campaigning through, because see, if someone is very familiar to us, if they tell about this HPV vaccine, we will listen. So basically they used this influencers, the Gen Z influencers, the what you call the national athletes, the young doctors, and the religious leaders to spread this campaign. Okay, yes. Next is the proud families who protected their daughters. Like see, it facilitated vaccinated families publicity publicly, and vaccinated girls became the peer campaigners. Okay, champions. Okay, so the gram panchayat and ward level data sharing the created healthy competition among the local teams. Okay, next is the digital nudges. Like the frontline health workers received the automated automated nudges and alerts. Like they ensured the continuous tracking and accountability on the ground. Okay, yes. Next pillar we can take is the clinical normalization and the service building. Okay, see, first is the empathetic counseling. Empathetic counseling, like the resistance often shows as a delay and doubt, not the outright refusal. So, sharing a real stories of the cervical cancer and survivors to build the empathy and the trust. Okay. Next is the medical supervision. Vaccination conducted only under the visible medical officer. I mean the visible medical supervision and the health facilities, so that it builds the confidence among the parents and the normalized the clinical processes. Okay, next is building the care delivery. Like it has integrated with the existing platforms, the routine immunization day and the PMSMA sessions. Okay, and women availing one service were they are cross referred, and the streamlining logistics and the outreach. Okay, these are the few pillars which we can talk about, and there are few key terminologies for the UPSC mains answer rating which we can take up from this article. They are: first is data invisibility. What is this data invisibility? It is a governance gap where the vulnerable, just a second, yeah, where the vulnerable, marginalized, or the transient population remain missing from the official registers. Okay, which is excluding them from the welfare programs. Okay, next, the nudge approach. The nudge approach is nothing but it is a behavioral economic strategy which is using the stubble non coercive interventions to influence the human behavior towards the positive social outcomes. Okay, next, the third is the inter-database triangulation. What is this inter-database triangulation is? It is a process of merging and verifying the cross-sectional information from the distinct administrative databases to build the integrated accountable beneficiary profiles. Okay, next is the service building or the care convergence. This is nothing but it is an aggregating multiple public health or the welfare services into a single touch point to improve the reception and the reduce the delivery costs. Improve the reception and reduce the delivery costs. Next is the digital nudges. What is this digital nudges is? It is an automated reminder which pushes the push notification or the real flag updates to enhance the tracking, compliance, and the accountability of the frontline field workers. Okay. Yes, those are the two articles which we have seen for today. Basically, both the editorials have ultimately emphasizes that the strength of the democracy lies not only in the making good laws and policies, but also in implementing them in the manner that they upholds the constitutional values and protect the human dignity. Okay, so as India moves towards becoming a developed nation, the true measure of progress will be how effectively it protects the both the freedom and the well-being of its people, which ensuring the justice and healthcare are accessible and timely and equitable and inclusive for all. Okay, and yes, this is the articles for today. I hope you like this video. If you want the detailed notes of it and this PDF which we have been displaying, you can download it from the website. And do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily editorial analysis. And do follow our Instagram and Telegram channels for your UPSC preparation. I'll see you all soon tomorrow with the another editorial analysis. And all the links for the website and the YouTube channels and the the Instagram and Telegram channels are provided in the description below. So do check and do follow, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.